And here we go. Friday, February 4th, 2022. Ermanni and Edwards, the bottom line. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards. Good afternoon to you, my friend.
Hey, how's it going, my guy?
I'll tell you, Braylon, since you asked the question.
Hey, you go ahead.
What a week it has been. And the news just keeps coming.
It's been a long one. It's been a long one. It's like nonstop, man.
Yeah.
Like, the NFL is the gift that keeps on giving. Maz is worried about the season being over because the Super Bowl is coming up this next Sunday. You know, we could go from this coming Sunday. But, man, you got the Snyder stuff that's come out. We'll be talking about that. The stuff with Stephen Ross is coming out. We'll be talking about that. It goes on and on. The Flores stuff, the Giants stuff. What will Aaron Rodgers do? Where will he go? What's going on with our team, the Detroit Lions, down at the Senior Bowl? The NFL is the gift that keeps on giving.
Any big plans this weekend, Tom Mazawey? Now, obviously, there's the Senior Bowl and the Pro Bowl, but really this is the first weekend since July that there's no football.
I hate it. I can't stand it. We're in that time of the year now. Next week will be great. Super Bowl week's fun. But this weekend, I'll watch a little of the Senior Bowl. I'll watch a little of the skills competition in the NHL All-Star Game, and probably watch last week's games again. Pretend that it's this week again. I can't help myself.
I don't know too many people that rewatch sports.
I've got games
other than coaches.
I still have the Lions-Packers game that I kept.
Analysts watch a lot of film.
I got the Lions-Packers game still. Kevin Birkett did that game, so I kept it. I'll just put a game on just so it reminds me, oh, yeah, it's still football.
That's just
that's sick, I know.
It's just remarkable. But speaking of the Lions, top of hour number 2, we'll be joined by Detroit Free Press Lions writer Dave Birkett. He'll join us, get us caught up on everything happening at the Senior Bowl. Dave was down there covering the staff. Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes had a chance to talk to both of those guys. See maybe which way their heads are leaning as we approach the draft and into the offseason. How does this team get good quickly, excuse me. Also want to thank everybody on the YouTube chat. I mean, yesterday we had just an absolutely remarkable day.
It's really been all week, though.
All week long.
Yesterday was exceptional, but it's really been all week. Man.
Absolutely. In terms of the likes yesterday was just incredible. We had something over like 230 likes or 220 likes or whatever the case may be. And that really helps our network grow, our show grow, and us grow. And we can't thank you guys enough, man. Everybody working the YouTube chat, thank you guys so much. Tammy, Joey, Jake, Steve, Rob, everybody in there. We just want to tip our hats. We tip our hats to you. We say thank you.
Yeah, we do. You know, it's fun to watch. You see we're growing. People that watch our show, they see that we're growing. Sponsors want to come on. Large part of the reason why our sponsors come on is because they see we have a growing fan base. We see that we have a continuous fan base, man, of Mike G, Haroon, Melissa, Jeff, and DJ Tom T. It goes on. We've built that over, the past 6-7 months, man. It starts with the people in the chat, commenting, being there for us. Everybody is making Woodward Sports as well as the bottom line a huge deal, and we really, really appreciate you.
They protect us, too, from some of the trolls that pop in. YouTube as well. They call out the trolls. It's a fun thing. Thanks for protecting us, gang. Sometimes we can take it, but a lot of times, we appreciate the love and protection. So keep it coming.
No doubt about that. I want to thank Corey Woods there as well. Right? Corey sneaking the water in behind Maz, and of course this Birmingham roast coffee.
Corey's better than me. I would have kept that card. I would have went around the corner to one of these Birmingham restaurants. I would have had a real nice lunch for myself.
Hey, Corey got me a Fiji. On your card. I just wanted a cheap water.
Hey,
you got me a good one.
That's all right. That's okay. Making the big bucks over here at Woodward Sports.
Thanks, Ryan.
That's right. Absolutely. We got it. Speaking of big bucks, he's in line for a contract extension. He's going to get one. Now, there are very rare times. I invite everybody to go to our Woodward Sports Twitter page.
Yeah.
Because yesterday, within the last 24 hours, there was a clip posted from me that had one take. There was a clip posted from Braylon that had a completely opposite take. And then late last night and earlier today, there was a report, an interview, a column from Mitch Albom in the Detroit Free Press today where he interviewed Jim Harbaugh. everything that I said yesterday was essentially what was in that article today.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple hours later, Heather Dinich, ESPN college football playoff reporter, is interviewed by 24/7 Sports.
Yep.
Everything that she said in that article agreed with Braylon, or was almost verbatim what Braylon's been saying on our show. And it's just remarkable. I feel like there are two universes we're living in here, and I'm not sure which one to believe anymore.
The way that I look at it is, because it took me some time to kind of like process my thoughts and see how I really wanted to go with it today. And so reading the Mitch Albom piece and then reading the Heather Dinich piece as well. Fan of both of their works, especially Mitch Albom for a long year. He's been doing. I read his book when I was 12 years old.
Fab Five.
Exactly, man. And so my dad's gone. We listened to him for years and read him for years. Heather Dinich, I've been watching her and listening to her for the last couple of years.
My first job in broadcasting was with the Mitch Albom show.
Exactly. And so, yours?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
About that.
My biggest thing is this is how I put it. When he was talking to Mitch Albom, for one, it's very questionable how fast that Mitch Albom piece got done. Very questionable. I'll start there. But when he says, I can't wait. Actually, let me go back. I think the thing that's so interesting about both articles and looking at the articles is if you're Ward Manuel and you're Michigan, okay, it's already been a bit of a cluster F and an S show all week. Hasn't looked good for Jim Harbaugh and it hasn't looked good for the University of Michigan. If you guys have come to terms, Ward Manuel saying, yes, I want you back, makes sense for you to come back. Jim Harbaugh saying, I'll come back if you have me. And the rhetoric that he uses, this won't be a reoccurring issue. If you guys are going to come back as a united front, then you have to be united front altogether, which means the things that have actually taken place behind closed doors, you can't expose that to the media. You can't expose that to the outside world because it'd be terrible. It'd be terrible for Harbaugh to come back and everybody talks about no one knew. Mm-hmm. Ward Emanuel didn't know. The players didn't know. The coaches didn't know. Because right now somebody's lying. Because somebody's lying. And you see Jamie come on, Jamie Morris, he has a pulse with the school. And that's not even my source. That's not even one of my sources. He has a pulse. He's up there. Jamie never says anything negative about the University of Michigan, especially now Harbaugh. Harbaugh is his quarterback. So to see his reaction yesterday, to hear some reactions of other players, to hear some reactions that I had from the inside, somebody's lying. And you have to protect the school. If you're going to go with Jim Harbaugh, you can't have it come out that, I didn't know anything about it. The players didn't know, because it looks bad. It makes it look worse. So although I do not agree with that, I understand why you come off as a united front. You have to, because that's the fastest way to get the outside world off your back so you can move forward as a school and as a company. So I understand it, and I'll let that slide.
If you have not read the Mitch Albom piece yet, let me just sum it up for you. In the interview, he basically says, if you're watching on YouTube, you see a quote here. In a nutshell, I love Michigan. I love every player. I love every family. He goes on to say that if he was offered the job, he essentially would have taken it. But once he realized that he wasn't going to get it, he did have that itch for a Super Bowl. He got so close to the Super Bowl. He had an itch for it. He wanted to explore that. He also goes on to say that now that he realizes that he's not going to have that opportunity, he's got a renewed sense for that college football national championship, believes you could win the college football national championship at Michigan. And that's exactly what I said yesterday. What did I say yesterday? Yeah. You essentially then re-fall in love with the job that you have. One of the aspects about that, if you can. Now, one of the aspects about this interview with Mitch Albom as well is he said, my players knew. My players told me, and I'm going to give you a chance here. Mm-hmm. This is where the disconnect is in the articles. This is right here. My players said, Coach, we want to go to the NFL too, and every time we ask you whether we should go to the NFL, you support us. So we support you in trying to go to the NFL, in exploring this. Well, then hours later, Heather Dinich, let's put this quote up. Heather Dinich, in an interview with 24/7 Sports, says that the staff and others were surprised and frustrated. That's exactly what Braylon said. Nobody knew. So that's really where the disconnect comes in here. Where does the truth lie? Did he tell the captains? Did he tell senior leadership? Did he feel like he had to tell all 105 players? Right. I mean, where is truth lies? Probably somewhere in the middle.
Two things. Go ahead, Maz.
John U. Bacon, our friend, went on with Fox Radio the other night, and we can put that tweet up. And he basically said the Vikings not offering Harbaugh the job shocked him. He thought he was going there to get the job.
Bernie Fratto,
good friend of ours.
Absolutely. I'm told Harbaugh was incredulous when he realized there was no offer while he was there. Even if the Vikings would have tendered an offer, they would have had to have slept on it, held a caucus, and circled back to Jim after he returned home. The Wilfs need convincing. So
they didn't really want to have him there.
No.
He was there because of the general manager, his friend that he used to work with. And he's back here, and we all said, personally, I said, I think he comes back with his tail between his legs. But then Mitch Albom's article speaks of him coming back with renewed vigorism. He wants to go out there. He's vigorous. I'm vigorous.
Right.
I want to win a national championship. And then on the other side, you got Braylon and all the insiders saying he didn't tell anybody.
Exactly. So that's where the disconnect is. Braylon, I want your response to that. Also, Chuck Pagano, former coach of the Indianapolis Colts.
He had a mouthful, didn't he?
Had a lot to say about this topic as well on Pat McAfee. So we got a lot going on a Friday. Who said Friday was a slow news day? Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
Make sure you're listening to Woodward Sports all day long. Start your morning with the Morning Woodward Show. Spend middays with Big D Energy. Watch and listen your drive home with the bottom line. And don't forget about Woodward Bets Daily. All live, all right here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey, gang, I want to let you know about Les Stanford Chevrolet, located in the great city of Dearborn, Michigan, located on Michigan Avenue. General Motors announced the all-new electric Chevy Silverado, and reservations are now open on Chevy.com. When you go to Chevy.com, step number 2 is going to be select a dealer. Well, Les Stanford is your dealer. Go ahead and select them because they're going to have one of the largest allocations of that vehicle. Make sure you get in line at Les Stanford Chevrolet. For more, call them today, 313-565-6000, 313-565-6000, or hit them up online, lesstanford.com, lesstanford.com, lesstanford.com.
Find new road.
Boom, baby. All right, so here we go. Braylon, do you want to weigh in on anything that we basically said before we get to the Chuck Pagano? I just want to give you an opportunity to kind of talk about this disconnect because Harbaugh in the Mitch Albom piece is saying, you know what, my players were telling me you support us when we want to go to the NFL. We're here to support you. Heather Dinich is saying nobody knew anything. The staff, the players, and everybody's frustrated.
So here's the disconnect, and here's what, and even in the article, if you read the article, if you just listen to the piece, they are trying to overlap a timeline that does not necessarily exist. What Harbaugh is doing as it relates to the interview with Mitch Albom is he's saying the players knew. Yes, the players knew once they found out on Twitter January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and they're using that. And yes, he told them then from January 4th to December the 2nd. I mean to February 2nd. But guess what?
Wait,
Jim,
the players or the recruits?
No, I'm saying that's when the players found out. The players found out
because he was already telling the recruits, "Hey, I am going to look at the NFL if they call me."
Right. He told some recruits. He told a couple of recruits in parts of December, but when the players that attended University of Michigan already, when they found out, it was via Twitter. January 2nd. Then he goes and tells individuals. So once he tells those guys, yeah, he was up front and honest after it came out. And he told them, yes, I'm trying to pursue the NFL. So when he told them January 2nd, January 3rd, January 4th, till February 2nd, guess what? We all knew then. We all knew then. So they're using that timeline to kind of backtrack it to December, to November, to October, and made it seem like he was up front when he was not. Players didn't know. It blindsided them, and it blindsided the coach, most notably Josh Gaddis, who was going to be in line, but that's neither here nor there. Going back to the can't wait piece by Jim Harbaugh, talking about he can't wait to come back. He wants to win a national championship. The vigor is renewed. Of course it is. Of course it is. You know what? I had a friend. I had a tech guy that I met when I was in Cleveland. I used to party in New York a lot. I met this guy, super cool, tons of money, super genius, etc. Used to hang out in New York. I go to the Jets. We hang out when I play for the Jets. Husband, family guy, etc. He moved out to Tech Valley. Guess who else goes out to Tech Valley? Me to play for the 49ers. He comes to me when I'm with the Niners before the season starts. I made a terrible mistake. I cheated on my wife one time. The girl that I cheated with is pregnant. I don't know what to do, Braylon.
Give me a heart attack.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I literally have, and I believed him. Because trust me, I've hung out with him. The guy wasn't like that. Guy would party, guy wouldn't cheat. So if he was, he's a good actor. First time he tells me about it. He tells me about it a month later. He said the girl, she had an abortion. She took care of it. His vigor was renewed. He became the ultimate husband. He ran through walls for his wife. He was taking her trips, buying her stuff. She never found out about it, mind you. Buying her stuff, doing all this. He had her back because he got this close.
She going to now.
He got this close and he realized, shoot, no, not at all. No, he realized he effed up and he got saved. Same thing with Harbaugh. Of course his vigor is renewed because he knew he was this close to messing it all up. Everything that he built in the last year, everything he built, he tried to go to the NFL. He didn't do it the necessary right way, and it looked bad. So of course his vigor is new. Do I think he's going to come and coach with a passion unknown to mankind? In his words, yes, I do. I know he's excited to be back. Michigan is excited to have him back because it gives them the best chance to win. The biggest thing I was trying to say yesterday and today, you have to just hold him accountable. He effed up. You got to let him know he effed up. Stop having this love affair where you're letting things slide on the rug and you're not calling him on his stuff. Let's stop the piece with Mitch Albom, all these people. Nobody knew. It is okay. You will move forward. He'll find ways to move forward from there. Just don't let him off the hook is what I'm really saying. Everybody's saying things like, oh, he flirted. He flirted with the idea of going to the NFL. That's not flirting. Flirting is when you have a girlfriend and you go on a couple pointless dates. Flirting is when a girl kisses you on the cheek and you don't do anything with that. That's a flirt. What he did was he went to this girl's house and he pulled his pants down and then the girl said, whoa, 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 what are you doing? You have some misinformation. And that's what happened. Then he had to put his pants on and realize he had messed up. That's what the situation is, but he can recover because he's ready to be back in Michigan and the players will allow him to.
I went bowling last night. It's my bowling night. Harbor
How'd you
Lanes.
do?
We got our ass kicked.
I'm guessing 637.
6-14. I didn't bowl good. First game.
Your head wasn't in. You got to get your head in the game.
The guys are talking Harbaugh with me, right? And you know what they all said? It ain't going to matter, Maz, as long as he wins. Because if he wins, we're not ever going to talk about this again. And we said it. Winning cures all.
It does.
And I kind of just took a step back and said, hey, I'm rooting for the guy because I'm a Michigan fan. I want him to do well. I think he might take he's going to take a beating here this season, I think, because I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. You do? I'm glad. I hope I'm wrong.
I think they got the second best quarterback in the Big Ten.
Great offensive line. I know that. Hey, I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Team with the best quarterback usually wins.
Well, then it's going to have to be JJ, right?
Yeah.
We'll have to see how that goes because he's very – well, I was going to say he's very he stays with the same guy all the time. What's the word I'm looking for?
Loyal.
Every team that
but
wins.
Really, he wasn't because he skipped town and went to Minnesota.
Every team that wins in college in the NFL too, with the exception of the greatest show on turf, every team has defense. That's the problem that Michigan's going to run into this season is the defense. You lost your defensive coordinator. You lost your 2 best defensive players. You lost your 3rd best defensive player. Cornerback, you lost a cornerback.
Yeah.
Like, that's where they're going to struggle at. You look at the Alabamas with national championship. All their guys are first round. You look at Georgia last year. What have we talked about since the game, before the game and since the game? You've talked about N'Kobe Dean. You've talked about Trayvon Walker. You've talked about Jordan Davis. Defense is going to be the issue for the University of Michigan moving forward into this year. If he can get that under control, then he'll have success. Because I've looked at that schedule; those first 6 games are a joke.
No doubt, and that gives you the ability to make sure that you get your defense right too. Now, whether you still don't have a defensive coordinator, whether that ultimately becomes Larry Foote or not, I hope to God it becomes Larry Foote, because I think this program needs somebody like Larry Foote to run that defense. Larry Foote would run a nasty defense. Last year, I would never have assumed that the University of Michigan would have 2 top 10 caliber defensive players. They came out of nowhere. I'm hoping that happens again. Now, if you look at offensively, J.J. McCarthy, Donovan Edwards, Blake Corum, Ronnie Bell you get back, Andrell Anthony. I mean, come on. This couple of offensive linemen going to come back. This team's going to be stacked offensively. Eric All is back. Schoonmaker's back. I mean, this team is going to be stacked offensively. So I do think Michigan will have the ability to outscore just about anybody they play, especially with that soft schedule that they have, and I'll take the soft schedule next year.
They still got 3 teams to play, though.
That's right. No,
but Sean Clifford came back in Penn State. Right. Sean Clifford's back this year. There is a team up in East Lansing that we can't seem to beat in the last 2 years, and there also is that team that's pissed because somebody said they're stuck on 3rd.
And that's fine. Right. That's why you play the games. But nonetheless, I just don't think it's going to be some fall off the cliff kind of moment.
Yeah, but it goes back to what people we're obviously just. This is just fun talk right now. But it goes back to what people say about Harbaugh before the season. It's like, he went 9-10 games, but he didn't beat anybody in those 9-10 games. This could be another one of those seasons where, sure, they're 9-3, after the 12 games, but those 3 losses were the 3 that mattered. And they got 9 wins against Indiana. They got 9 wins against Colorado State. Insert 7 wins that don't matter. That's the kind of season that I'm saying we're looking at if they can't get the defense together.
That's a big if, and very well. So I mentioned Chuck Pagano. Chuck Pagano had some interesting comments about Jim Harbaugh. You will hear those next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network on a Friday. The bottom line.
At Woodward Sports, we're always up for a good cause and a good time. This year we present the 2022 Cupid Sunday Run. Yeah, you heard right. Time to get in our underwear and run the streets of Detroit. For the last 12 years, we've stripped down, ran in the cold, and partied to raise money to help fund research to end NF. February 12th, join the staff from Woodward Sports and hundreds of other beautiful people downtown at the Tin Roof. You can register as an individual or your team today at woodwardsports.com. So start doing those squats, sit-ups, or just some 12-ounce curls. And get ready for Cupid Sunday Run 2022. Sponsored by the awesome people at Gypsy Vodka, Centron, and Planet Fitness. We'll see you February 12th at the Tin Roof. In our underwear.
Hey, everybody, it's Maz for the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. Foaling, what is it? It's throwing a football at bowling pins. You can do it by yourself, with some friends, and with some family as well. Your corporate party.
Family.
The whole 9 yards at the Foaling Warehouse. Your great hosts, Chris and Noni Hut. Make sure you tell them Woodward Sports sent you. They'll take care of you. 2 ways to play. $10 unlimited open play. And you can also have a private lane reservation. You could do that for $120 for 10, make that 10 people for 2 hours. That's a hell of a deal. They got over 100 beers, the $2 mystery beer machine, multiple full bars, and you can bring your own food in as well. Have it delivered. You can do that too. Just come get your foal on at foalingwarehouse.com.
Former Indianapolis Colts head coach Chuck Pagano former Bears defensive coordinator too, I believe, Chuck Pagano, on with Pat McAfee. Had some interesting things to say about Jim Harbaugh's situation. Cannot believe that he actually came back to Michigan. Here he is.
I mean, that's what it looks like, AJ. Because I was sitting there thinking to myself, there's no way that you get on a plane and you go interview on National Signing Day. Now, granted, most of the kids have already signed because they've got, 2 signing days. They got the early signing period, and then yesterday was National Signing Day. And most of the, especially the Power 5 schools, they've got their classes, basically all locked up, all signed up. But to get on a plane on that day and go interview with the Minnesota Vikings, I was sitting there, talking to my peeps and my family and Tina, saying there's no way he doesn't have this job. You wouldn't risk that. And I don't know how you go back. You got a locker room full of players, a coaching staff, the administration, everybody at that school. You just made the college football playoff. You got all that stuff, and I don't know how to me it was like there's no turning back, and then all of a sudden, it's not a done deal. And he called.
Yeah, there's no turning back. He don't know. He thinks he should have not even returned to Michigan at that point.
That's what I told you yesterday.
That's what you said.
I would have taken a year off, but you know what? If the guy wants this job and he's vigorous and he's ready to go, I'm all for it.
And I think maybe I'm the dummy here.
You're not a dummy.
And I'm very okay with it, being the dummy. I am okay with being the dummy. I have been the dummy before. Right. I will be the dummy again. Maybe I'm wrong. I just have very little problem with what's going on here. And I don't know why. I don't know why I don't have a problem with it. Maybe it's blind love for Michigan football, or maybe it's just the fact that I don't see Michigan as Jamie Morris sees Michigan anymore. Like, we're Michigan. You don't do this to Michigan. And I'm not saying he's wrong either. It's just my opinion is I don't see us like that anymore, because to me, we're not that anymore.
But the difference is, you're saying two different things.
I am.
You're saying two different things, because you're saying about a coach trying to look at Michigan as a destination versus Jim Harbaugh and what he did. What Jamie is looking at it as is me and other alums. We've talked, we've conversed. He embarrassed himself. He held the University of Michigan hostage for an individual that says he loves the school. Look, I love the school. You see this hat? You see this chain right here? You see what's on this chain right here? These are coordinates. Do you know what these are the coordinates to?
And our big house.
The effing big house.
Yeah.
I love my school. I love my school. Just thinking about what Harbaugh did, the reason why he came back and took the job, ultimately, when you are a coach or a player, you give yourself a chance to make people forget. If he would have just turned it in, mass, if he would have not gotten the job, which he did not, and then didn't come back to the University of Michigan and just sat somewhere, because he's not going back to Ann Arbor to chill in his house. He's going to move somewhere, rent an RV, and drive around the country. If you don't give yourself a chance to have some success after a crucial effed up moment, then people will remember you by this moment. He would have been remembered not for beating Ohio State, which you love so much. That moment that did it for you. One of the top 5 moments. Which is another reason why you struggle with the disrespect that he did and the thing that he did. You can overlook that because of that moment. If he wouldn't have given himself a chance to win, now he's got a chance to come back to Michigan. Now he's got a chance to be loved by you and others like you. Now he's got a chance to see what J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, that offensive line that is number 1 in the country returning. He's got a chance to beat Ohio State again, slim one. He's got a chance to beat Michigan State, slim one. He's got a chance to come back and do these things. And then if he does so, people like you will forget. I won't, but people like you will forget. And then he'll be able to start making people forget more and more until this is a distant memory. That's why you come back to Michigan. If that's the main reason why you come back, because you give yourself a chance. How many people have struggled, had a bad moment, and because they were still on a team or because they were still coaches, they can make the best of the situation and make people forget about set things done wrong.
Let me ask you guys something. First, Braylon, then you, Rye. Do you think he will retire here as a Michigan head football coach? Braylon.
See, the thing about it is, man, I don't know what the answer to that is, because part of me is telling me this year alone is a one-off. Part of me is telling him that, look, like, everybody's working together, Ward and everybody's working together. They're working together for this year to prepare themselves for what they're going to do in the 2023 season. But another part of me is telling me that he might be here for longer. He might stay here and retire. But then also, he's 59 this year. What is longer? What does longer look like? So to answer your question, I don't know. If you put me on the spot, you put a gun to my head and made me pick one, I say he's a fickle individual, and I would say he doesn't retire here.
Even though he said, this is it, I'm not even looking at the NFL anymore.
Well, Dan Snyder said he didn't fill in that girl in the limo, and we know that to be a lie.
Well, he's a piece of work.
To answer your
Jim Harbaugh is not Dan Snyder.
To answer your question, Maz, I say yes. I say yes. And one of the main reasons why I say yes, number one, do whatever you want with Jim Harbaugh's word. He said what he said.
Yeah.
That I look at the last 6 gentlemen who have been hired as head coach, and we're going to talk about that. Kevin O'Connell, 36. Brian Dabol, 46. Nathaniel Hackett, 42. Josh McDaniels, 45. Doug Pederson, 51. Matt Eberflus, 51. This is getting younger and younger and younger and younger. Jim Harbaugh may have zero. Jim Harbaugh is going to have 0 opportunities to leave Michigan for the NFL.
They just hired David Culley last year, and he's elderly.
But it's not going to happen anymore. I think 51 might be a cap for head coaches. So I just think the NFL is getting younger and younger and younger. I don't think he'll coach a different college.
Everything is.
I don't think he'll coach a different college team other than Michigan. So I do think I do think he's going to retire here. If I can get back to this point too, because I'm trying to relate what Jim Harbaugh did to my own life in flirting with a bigger job. If Fox News Channel or CNN.
We got to stop using the word flirting. He did not flirt. He didn't flirt.
Job seeking.
It's
a job.
Yeah, it's
at the end of the
seeking,
day.
no, it's not flirting.
Okay. To seek a better job.
There you go.
Okay. To go after a better job.
I'll give you that.
If there was an opportunity for Ryan Ermanni and I hate talking about myself in the third person, so let me rephrase it. If there was an opportunity for me to go to the Fox News Channel, CNN, MSNBC, NBC News, ABC News, insert whatever. National.
Yes.
If there was an opportunity for me to go to New York.
ESPN.
If there was an opportunity for me to go to New York and somebody was willing to seriously have that conversation with me, would I get on a plane and go explore that? That has been, at one point in my life, it is not now, but at one point in my life, that has always been a dream of mine. And if there were whispers out there that, hey, these guys really like you, you gotta come for an interview, what would I do? Would I tell my co-anchors? Would I tell everybody here? Yeah, guys, I'm gonna go to Bristol. I'm gonna interview with ESPN because I heard they want me. Like, I'm trying to put myself. There's no perfect way to handle these situations. There's just not. And again, I go back to, this is all a great conversation now, but it's how everybody reacts from this point forward. It's how Jim Harbaugh reacts. It's how he communicates with his staff, how he communicates with those players, how receptive those players and that staff are. Look, if I'm Josh Gaddis, man, you were this close from probably being named the Michigan head coach.
You don't think there's going to be resentment there all season?
But that's it. But
if he stays.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I told you yesterday. February to November is a long time.
But
February to August is a long time. And you can't put yourself in that situation because you didn't recruit Dina. You didn't go to Dina's mother and father and say, hey, I'm going to be here. I'm going to do. No, you didn't go to Moriel. You didn't go to Moriel and recruit her and bring them there. Yeah. So it's hard to have that comparison. Right. Plus, Jim's already reached that dream and then came back. The big thing about it is, like we always talk about, it's not how you say it. It's not what you say. It's how you say it. It's not what you do. It's how you do it. He basically held the University of Michigan hostage. That's all. That's the biggest thing. He held them hostage, and now they're trying to come out and clean some stuff up and make it look not as bad as it was. That's the big thing we're talking about here. It's basically just how he did it. Mm-hmm. That is all.
I had a situation. I could talk about myself for a quick second. Back in 1999, 2000 almost it was, I had an opportunity to go interview at ESPN. They flew me in. I only told a few of my friends. Told Dan Dickerson, told Steve Courtney, and told Mike O'Hara. I was at WJR at the time. WJR was owned by the same company. It was a Walt Disney company. So I'm like, I don't have to tell my bosses. So I go there. I do the interview. I get a job offer. The money wasn't right to move to Connecticut. So I said, no, thank you. My wife and I find a new house. We buy our first home. And then, of course, they call 2 days later, and they up the offer to make it well worth me going to Connecticut. And I was going to be the producer for Dan Patrick's radio show.
Wow.
Before this was the first while he was going on. And guess what? Mike O'Hara in his little BTS in Detroit News, it's behind the scenes on Sunday. Him and Barton Kapelian will put out this little media article.
I remember.
And he wrote, hey, WJR producer Tom Mazawey interviewed at Bristol, Connecticut at ESPN, blah, blah, blah. So I go in on Monday, and they're waiting for me. My two bosses, the GM and the program director. And they sit me down in the office, and they read me the riot act.
Really?
They were nice to me after that, and they like, next time you got to tell us something like this is going to happen. Nothing happened to me at that moment, but I had my I thought I was done.
Unbelievable.
That's just a quick little story, but I was able to go back and work there for years. And
they scared the hell out of you.
Yeah,
Let me just ask you this. No, and we could take this to break. Let me ask you this. If Jim Harbaugh wouldn't have been a finalist in the Heisman at the University of Michigan, would you still feel the same way you do about what he did and him coming back? Like, part of you wanting him to come back is he's Michigan. He's Jim Harbaugh. He should know better. This is the guy. He understands Michigan. He understands the pulse. No other coach can do that. If he did not have ties to Michigan, if he wasn't number 4 from 82 to 86, would you still feel the same way?
Great question. I'll have that answer for you next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, bottom line.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
You want commercials? The other guys have those. You want great sports takes? Touchdown! What a play! Woodward Sports has those. Detroit's new sports outlet, the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey, gang, I want to tell you about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. This place is wicked packed because it's Friday and everybody wants to look good before the weekend. That's right. All you got to do is you want to feel like a king. That's all you got to do. You got to have the want to. And you got to walk in that door. You got to sign in. You got to sit down. And before you know it, you are handsome and clean. Ooh, baby. Lady Jane's open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. Fellas, it's game day every day. Football is here. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked.
Just want to thank everybody once again in the YouTube chat. We have over 325 people watching live right now, and we certainly appreciate that. Over 77 likes. Pound that like button if you see us. That helps our show. That helps this station a great deal if you can do that. So we thank you. Had over 200 likes yesterday on the show, over 230 likes, I believe. Yesterday. Just an absolutely remarkable day.
Tammy was whipping him down the stretch.
Yeah, Tammy Chin leading the way over there. Everybody out there. So we want to thank you guys for that. Maz, how you feeling over there?
I feel good, man. It's to me, it's been a really quick week. Just so many stories. I love it. Hey, we're going into the dead part of kind of sports coming up here. You know, there's nothing to Nothing to run from.
See, I
It is what
disagree
it
with
is.
that. I disagree with that. I think now's the time of year where you can kind of let things breathe a little bit. You get one or two things happening in sports a day, and you can really examine that topic. Also, with the NFL draft, there's going to be no shortage of things to talk about. I really am excited about
It's good to hear.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this time of year because, stuff like the Brian Flores in these coaching changes and things you could really kind of provide some depth to. Instead of just mentioning
skimming over stuff.
and skimming over it because there's a billion different things happening, and then you move on. But Braylon, before the break, you asked me a question.
Yep.
If Jim Harbaugh wasn't number
Michigan
4
guy.
Michigan and a Michigan guy, would you care? And I feel like that's a slightly loaded question because I feel like he wouldn't be here if he wasn't a Michigan guy to begin with. But number 2, so my first quarterback
Rich Rod wasn't a Michigan guy.
No, but I love Rich Rod, though, too. I think Rich Rod got screwed big time. If Rich Rod had another year, I think that thing was about to start humming, by the way.
Brady Hoke went 11-2 the next year. To your point, I'm saying
personally. Now, I didn't even know that Jim Harbaugh was a Michigan quarterback growing up. For me, the 2 quarterbacks that I grew up really when my Michigan fandom started, Michael Taylor and Demetrius Brown. Those were the 2 quarterbacks that were really the first quarterbacks that I knew. To me, Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. So I didn't really grow up loving Harbaugh or anything like that or being number 4. It was later in life that I...
But that's still the question, though. 7 years ago, you knew Jim Harbaugh went to Michigan.
No, but look, Jim Harbaugh got tons of latitude because he's a Michigan guy. Brady Hoke got latitude because he's a Michigan guy.
Got fired after 4 years.
Yeah, that's when you get fired in big colleges now, though. 4 years, you don't get 5-6 years anymore, big-time college football programs anymore. USC, Tennessee, Florida State, Florida, look at how quickly these teams are firing. You don't get more than 4 years anymore. Brady Hoke probably should have gotten fired when he got fired. Now, I think Rich Rod should have gotten a 4th year. I don't think he should have been fired after 3, and I think because he wasn't a Michigan guy, that's why he got fired. But just how I feel about it.
Yeah, Clay Helton did 5 years at USC, I believe, before he was fired. Yeah, Rich Rod did 3. Losing to Toledo and trying to change the culture didn't help. He did get a little early exit. Next year, Brady Hoke did go 11-2. And I do understand that. That's just more so my question.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day,
good question.
He's here. He's gonna be here and make do it. I think he's the best. He gives them the best option, especially the fact that they didn't get a chance to really vet the process.
Yeah.
And like go through the process. So him coming back gives them the best option. The players are familiar with him. The coaches are familiar with him. It's just more so a question like, what's that relationship gonna be with the players and the coaches from now till, let's say, May?
And we'll have certainly a ton of time
to
examine that. Maz, you got a bow you want to put on the Harbaugh stuff? Because I want to get to the NFL.
I got a little something, just a side note. J.J. McCarthy, little NIL news.
Okay.
Becomes Randy Wise Buick GMC's dealership's official quarterback.
That's great.
So he make a little bit of money over there at Randy Wise. So congrats to J.J. McCarthy.
That's how it happens. I still maintain Braylon Edwards is $1 million a year player if he's
easy.
Yeah.
Easy, man.
Unbelievable,
what do you think those kids in USC are going to start making?
Ridiculous.
Caleb Williams. What do you think he's going to be worth?
Reggie
look who
Bush
didn't even play in Oklahoma. What was his name in Oklahoma? He fell off the earth?
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler had his own
Where'd
little
he go?
logo.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yeah. Wow.
Man.
South Carolina's always been an interesting school.
Guys,
I wish Jim Harbaugh the best.
We all do.
There's my bow.
We all do. We all want Michigan to win.
Remember that video I showed you the other day?
Yeah.
Bo in 1982
Yeah.
telling Texas A&M, oh, no, thank you. I'm going to stay home. I want to stay in Michigan.
Yeah.
So maybe this is his Bo moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perhaps.
There you go.
Very good. Guys, another NFL coaching job off the board after it was reported that Byron Leftwich withdrew his name from consideration for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags announced Doug Pederson, their next head coach. 51 years old, won the Super Bowl back in 2017. Actually, 4 years ago today, we were introduced to the Philly special. Doug Pederson fired by the Eagles. They parted ways after the 2019 season. He sat out last year, and he gets the job in Jacksonville. A lot of people very high on Doug Pederson and this job. I will say this, Byron Leftwich, good for Byron Leftwich that he pulled his name from that job. Didn't want his one opportunity to be associated with the general manager, Trent Baalke, over there in Jacksonville. And Jacksonville somehow has stuck with Baalke over Byron Leftwich. Now, what happens from here, there is word that Rick Spielman, the old Minnesota Vikings general manager, will have some sort of big-time role with Jacksonville. We don't know that yet, but you can't help but look at these 9 openings, and Adam Schefter put it up yesterday on Twitter. Here it is. Matt Eberflus, Nathaniel Hackett, Brian Dabol, Josh McDaniels, Kevin O'Connell, Doug Pederson, 6 white guys. There are 3 openings. We talk about a one black head coach in the National Football League. There are 3 minorities. Ron Rivera is a minority head coach, and Robert Saleh is a minority head coach, but one black head coach in Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. There are 3 openings. Put it up for me once more, Alex. The Dolphins, the Saints, and the Texans. The Texans did put out a statement yesterday that said Brian Flores is a finalist for that job. But just as you see that list, Braylon Edwards, I'll come to you.
Oh man.
What do you make of that list, and how much, I don't want to say, well, I'll just say it. How much pressure do you think there is from the Dolphins, Saints, and Texans to somehow get an African-American hire in one of those
Dolphins
3 spots at
one.
least?
Dolphins just fired him.
And so did Texans.
Yeah, but
that's right.
But if Brian Flores is telling the truth, then the way in which they fired him goes with everything that we're saying. Listen, I want the people out there to know that black people and people that empathize with the truth is, which is black individuals aren't getting a chance to head coach at the same rate as white individuals. That is true. But black people don't get mad every time you hire a coach. Like, every time a white coach is hiring a black coach, doesn't get.
I'm glad you said that.
We don't get mad. Like, when you look at the Doug Pederson, he should have been in the NFL. I don't think he should have been fired from the Eagles. He should have already been back in the NFL. I think he's a good coach. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think Doug Pederson is a really good hire. So let me start there.
Not the Giants don't like him, though. Throwing a game
true.
at the end of the year.
Well, they obviously don't like a lot of people. We'll get into the Giants and Jim Murray.
I think that's an excellent point you
Right,
make.
yeah.
Though,
We don't
Braylon.
get mad every time. What we get mad at is it just seems like for 32 jobs, you mean to tell me you don't think that black men can be a leader of a team? Like, you just mean to tell me in the history of the NFL, like, black men can't be head coaches. That's what we get mad at. As many times, as long as we've been players. Like, if you look at the rate that we've been players in terms of how many black players have been versus everybody else, man, that number is staggering. Like, the first black coach in the NFL was Fritz Pollard in the 1920s. So from the 1920s till now, like, you just see the progress. Like, you get mad. And then when we do get jobs, they're jobs where you have where you don't have a chance. You hire Hugh Jackson as a black coach, great. Where did he get hired? The Cleveland Browns. You hire Jim Caldwell to be a coach. Great. Where did he get hired? The Detroit Lions.
So many
now you look at the jobs up there. Oh, congratulations. The Saints are an option. They're $4 billion over cap. Nobody wants that.
Mess.
The Dolphins, who wants to go coach there right now?
That's the point. That's a great point,
Who
too.
the hell wants to coach there right now?
I was actually thinking about
The
that.
Houston Texans,
Right.
who the hell wants to go coach
I
with
was
that
I want to
mess?
go to
thinking about
Miami. He
this.
could pay me $100,000
Who
for
wants
loss.
to go coach with that mess right now?
I
So
know
you're
it.
putting us in losing situations. The bigger thing is, it's not about the NFL, and let me eloquate this one. It's not about the NFL, though. See, it's about black individuals, black players, and empathizers getting together. It's about the players in the NFL. It's about Mike Tomlin. It's about Brian Flores. It's about the coaches on the coaching staff, like Aaron Glenn, GMs such as Brad Holmes, like Art. Until we create the change that we want to see, nobody gives up power. I don't care what realm it is, what genre life is, whether it's a CEO of a music industry, whether you're talking about Zuckerberg with Facebook, whether you're talking about the list goes on. Nobody hands power over. When we were fighting for civil rights in the 60s, And there was racism, and there was segregation. If we would have not done anything, talk about Martin Luther King, talk about Malcolm X, talk about Marcus Garvey and Rosa Parks and the people that fought for, and the people that stood beside us that weren't black, that were white, that were Indian, that were Asian. If we didn't fight for that change, which it still would be segregated, but we fought for the change that we wanted to see. Until the NFL players, the NFL coaches, the NFL GMs, everybody on these staffs and everybody that supports them, until they get together and they make the change they want to see known, until they fight for it outright, out loud, like Colin Kaepernick did, till you take that stance, no one's going to give you an NFL team. Nobody's going to give you a head coaching job because you're black and they get forced to. They're not being forced to as owners. They're not being forced to as the NFL shield. So why would they relinquish power? We, as black individuals and empathizers of what this movement is, we have to come together and fight to get teams, fight to get jobs, make it known why we need jobs. If we just go every once in a while on ESPN and say, hey, it sucks that this is the case, and the Giants have never had a black head coach, and the last team to have a black quarterback, and that's only because somebody got hurt. Nobody cares, and it will go away, just like all those cops that were killing black people went away until Leonard Floyd, when we finally stood up and made the NFL do something, and then the NFL became a part of it. You got to create the change you want to see in life. It is on us, not on the NFL.
More on that next, Braylon. Also, I want to respond to what you had to say next. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Braylon catches TDs.
On the slant, there goes Braylon Edwards. Edwards on a foot race, and no one's going to get near him. 80 yards for the touchdown.
Ryan catches Pokemon. We all have our strengths. The bottom line on Woodward Sports.
Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where you can work out without judgment. I'm telling you, man, if you go work out, it makes you feel a lot better when you don't have people judging you, looking at you, watching you doing, seeing what you're doing, how you're working out, if you're doing the machine wrong, an exercise wrong, or what you're doing while you're on the machine. Feels a lot better when there's a no judgment-free zone. When there's a judgment-free zone. Membership is just $10 a month.
Only $10?
Only $10 is right, Sam.
Hell yeah.
Or $22.99 if you want the black card. Not much more, but guess what? You do get much more when it comes to use of amenities. Let me tell you about it. Members enjoy the use of things such as unlimited tanning, hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement, along with access to over 2,000 locations worldwide, Craig. Join today in club or online at www.planetfitness.com. No matter where you are, there is a Planet Fitness near you. There's one down the street from here. Why are you BSing? Now open in Midtown Detroit at the Detroit Pistons Performance Center. Right now, $0 down or $10 a month. Planet Fitness is the workout place for you.
Braylon, I want to respond to a couple of things you said in regards to the head coaching hires in the NFL, and I'm glad you said that, because if you look at a guy like Doug Pederson, dude won the Super Bowl.
By the way, I did say Leonard Floyd. That's because they're playing a Super Bowl. My apologies. I meant George Floyd.
Yeah. I'm glad you said what you said about Doug Pederson, because a guy like Doug Pederson should not get a job because he's a white head coach.
100%.
Like, obviously, he won the Super Bowl 4 years ago. Yeah, go ahead.
It was going to be, for sure, Byron Leftwich's job.
Yeah.
Until he put down his hammer and said,
work.
I want Balky out of here. And he lost the power struggle. So it was going to be his job, and he would have been great at it. That was his team.
So Shad Khan, I was reading earlier today, Shad Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, was apparently asking candidates as they're interviewing for that job, with Trent Baalke in the room, could you work with Trent Baalke as general manager?
What type of stuff is that?
That to me,
What kind of guy is this guy?
a different guy.
But meanwhile, you can't have, but you can't have players in the room though.
So are you like? are you supposed to answer that question legitimately with the guy sitting in the room? That was reported today.
Well, Byron did.
Yeah,
and he didn't get the gig.
And good for Byron Leftwich. But Alex, can you put the Adam Schefter tweet up? This is important. This is one of the things. I go back to this weeks ago when we were talking about black head coaches in the National Football League. What's the one thing you notice about now? Matt Eberflus, excuse me, I have no idea how he got hired in Chicago. The defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. That to me is the outlier of all outliers. I don't know what happened there. The Chicago Bears did hire an African-American general manager. Did he make that call on Eberflus? Did he get to pick his guy? Or was that a pre-selected situation, kind of like Dan Campbell was here for Brad Holmes? I don't know the answer to that question, so I'm not going to freak out on that yet. However, Hackett, OC, Dabol, OC, McDaniels, OC, O'Connell, OC, Doug Pederson, former head coach, offensive-minded.
Yep.
You have two black offensive coordinators in the National Football League out of 32 teams. Eric Bieniemy and Byron Leftwich.
Yeah.
We talk about head coaches all the time. We need more offensive coordinators who are black offensive coordinators. Are you telling, like, we're flipping out about the head coach. What about the offensive coordinators? Because that is the type of, you want to start checking boxes? Go look and see, go look at all the latest head coaching hires. They're all offensive-minded head coaches. They're all offensive not all, because obviously Eberflus is the outlier there. Right. But it's offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. You've got to add more of those guys there in those positions too.
Another way another way in order to get more black people in the door as it relates to being a head coach is, if you notice what the NFL has always done, is you start with Bill Walsh and you look at Parcells. Guys that get head coaching jobs, they come off a tree. Like that's how you get a head coaching job. So you look at Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh had about 90 guys off that tree, including some black men. Ray Rhodes was off that Bill Walsh tree. He was a head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. Dennis Green was off that Bill Walsh tree. He was a head coach for the Vikings as well as the Arizona Cardinals. You look at Parcells. Parcells had Romeo Crennel. He was a head coach. He was under the Belichick tree. Belichick was under Parcells. And you start going down the list. Now it's the Sean McVay tree. It's Brandon Staley's got a job. Kevin O'Connell's got a job. Zach Taylor's got a job. So when black guys do get head coaching jobs, you got to hire some of your own, because these are the guys that are starting to get the head coaching jobs. They fall off that tree. Kyle Shanahan has a little bit of a tree of his own. So Matt LaFleur's is off the tree in Washington. So that's how you get jobs, and that's how they're getting these jobs. They're coming off this tree of people that are having success. You can't get a tree started until you become a head coach. That's the one thing I want to see happen more of too. When you get a head coaching job like a Mike Tomlin, the next head coach that is whenever it happens, make sure you start to hire some offensive coordinators that are your same color. Make sure you hire some assistant coaches that are your same color, because that's how you start to see a lot. Well, I take that back. That's how it's always been. Eric Coryell had a tree back with the San Diego Chargers. The West Coast, the inventor of the West Coast offense. That's how you get coaches in the door, is they fall off the tree of success. That's one of the main reasons. That's not a racist thing, but that is, we can't get in the door. So now when we get in that door, start to hire more people that look like you so they can fall off your tree and they can get jobs as well.
Hey, a side note on the coaching hires. There's a rumor out there, and I think Dave Wannstedt was the guy that said it. Wasn't he that guy that went on Colin Cowherd's podcast?
Dave
Wannstedt talked like the Lions have already hired Matt Nagy as our offensive coordinator. Yes, Matt Nagy from the Chicago Bears that only lost one game in his 3 years in Chicago to the Lions, 4 years, excuse me.
He lost a lot
But we haven't heard anything about this. I don't know where he heard this. I don't know if it's going to be true, but I just wanted to at least put it out there. I know Easy's talked about it in the past as well, but Matt Nagy's name is being bantered about somehow. We'll have Dave Birkett on here in a couple of minutes. We could ask him.
Yeah, one of the Lions writers too, said they were with somebody in the Lions offices, and they're like, "Where does this stuff come from?" I don't know, but the basic point is these coaches know stuff, like
Belichick.
like Belichick,
Yes.
where we got the Josh McDaniels news
Correct.
a month ago, essentially, about 3 weeks ago, was from, we're not going to name him, but it was from a former head coach in the National Football League. So these coaches know
They do.
what's happening.
It's not hearsay. Like, they've been privy to information because they've been around a long time. They're in those circles, and that information gets slid to them via text, via a bump into someone at a Birmingham roast, bump into, hey, Dabol's got the job in New York, right? Like, that's the real deal.
I wouldn't totally be against the Nagy OC.
He's a good
though,
he knew.
because I mean, look, Jim Schwartz wasn't the greatest head coach in the world, but he was a pretty damn good defensive
I
coordinator.
thought he was a good head coach.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, I think that's a guy that could get
It's past him, I think.
Is it? Yeah.
I think it's past him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
How about the rumor of Aaron Rodgers selling his home in California and buying a place
it's
in
not
Nashville?
a rumor. Sold his LA home for $5.3 million. Bought land in Nashville. He's gonna essentially build a home there and retire
Right next to Ryan Tannehill's
to
house, right?
Nashville.
I tell you what, 5.3 in LA looks a lot different than 5.3
No
in
doubt.
Nashville.
Can you imagine?
You're a king in Tennessee.
And
for
look,
that.
he wants out of California with all them liberals out there.
I bet you.
Aaron Rodgers.
You think he broke up with his
Got it.
girlfriend?
No,
Nah,
he said
not
they
at all.
don't talk politics.
Not at
Yeah,
all.
I don't think that's gonna last. I don't think that's gonna last.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. You guys are on one today.
Hoochie Mama.
Aaron Rodgers hates California. Aaron Rodgers hates California.
I guess he ain't gonna play for the Niners, huh?
Ermanni and Edwards.
That ain't gonna happen. Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line. They ain't going up there.
Funny.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Get a shot up. This is for the win.
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
The sports marketing agency has been leveraging pro athletes and other notables for over a decade against the issues around mental health and substance use disorder. With the help of NFL alumni Sean Jordan, my big mentor, has been able to save lives. I take that back. Has been able to save lives and take a stand against these issues. Soon coming to Woodward Sports is the sports marketing agency podcast. This is the F word, and F word meaning fentanyl. Fentanyl is destroying our community. Michigan is hit the hardest in the country as it relates to fentanyl and drug overdoses. If you're struggling with substance abuse or mental health, they are here to help. And believe me, we have been here to help for 5 years. Sean's been doing this for longer than that, and I'm here to help as well. Can't wait for that podcast to come up. It's going to touch on a lot of sensitive subjects and really get that out, that information out there, man. Just normalizing things. Normalize things and destigmatizing is what we're after, or destigmatization. Go to thesportsma.com. Go to thesportsma.com. Go to thesportsma.com. Stole that from you, Ryan, with the last stands for read.
There you go,
here
baby.
to help.
Yes, we are. Certainly, we appreciate their partnership. Top of hour number 2 of the program, Ermanni and Edwards. The bottom line here on Woodward Sports Network. We thank everybody on the YouTube. Ryan, Don, Juice, Rob, Benjamin, Piston Fan, Lion Rumble. Man,
Let's do it.
We're rocking and rolling. What a week it has been here on Woodward Sports Network. And we're going to get into some Lions talk now. We'll get Dave Birkett up as soon as we can. But we'll talk a little bit of about those Lions now, if you will.
The
Coaching
game's
the
tomorrow,
Senior Bowl
right?
tomorrow. That's right. Getting a good look at some of these guys. By the way, did you see Andrew Stuber?
Oh, man.
Did you see that video?
Did you see who it was against?
Yeah, watch this. Watch the Michigan helmet here against the Ohio State guy. Yeah, you still got the flu, buddy.
Slam.
Still got the flu.
My elbow.
Hey.
My elbow.
Okay,
elbow's better. Oh, no, it's not.
Oh, man. Look at that. Guy making a lot of money for himself.
And it's 3 of those plays, such plays like that. I love seeing that. I love seeing those drills, those one-on-one drills, because you get a real feel, man, like to that attitude, that intensity. And you talk about, well, you know, it was a game, people were sick, it was the flu, blah, blah, blah. Like you said, was it the flu now?
Right.
Does the flu exist down there in Mobile?
What's the reason now? By all accounts, Malik Willis is a guy who has really earned himself a lot of money, and I think by all accounts now is going to be the first quarterback taken wherever, by everybody's account, that you trust, I guess. I mean, the Mel Kipers, the Todd McShays, everybody's talking about Malik Willis
too.
Is a guy. Yeah, I think Pickett's falling.
To like 4.
It's because of those small hands.
I think Sam Howell might be above Pickett right now.
Yeah,
in terms of what
I mean, people are talking about Malik Willis as high as 9.
You know what the good thing about that is, and we talked about that. I talked about this earlier, and we've covered it. When you're when you're a GM, when you're an offensive coordinator, when you're an owner, when you're a head coach, and you're sitting back and you're playing against Lamar Jackson, and you're playing against Kyler Murray, and you're playing against Russell Wilson when he was in his heyday, when you're playing against Josh Allen, when you're playing against these quarterbacks that can run, that can get out the pocket, that are special, that have these rocket launcher arms, you're looking at that and you're like, damn, I got to get me one of those. So now you're watching these players, appreciate that, Sam. Now you're watching, as coaches, as GMs, you're down at the Senior Bowl and you're like, well, I talked about one of those situations, and there it is. And that's why he's making himself a lot of money. And I think what'll help him is not only does he have this raw talent, not only does he have this speed and this rocket launcher arm, you get him with a guy like Mark Brunell, a prototypical pocket passer, a guy that knows the game, a guy that has been in NFC, AFC championships throughout the years, really knows the position of quarterback. Get Malik Willis with a Mark Brunell. Man, that could be something special.
You know, there's video too. You got to watch this Brian Robinson, the running back from Alabama. There's some guys trying to earn a lot of money in this Senior Bowl practice right now.
Look at the Lions coach is coaching him up.
I know. Look, do you see that's Deuce Staley right there? You see that? Just keep watching this. Boom! I mean, just delivering blows. I mean, that looks like a Georgia helmet too. I mean, you think he wanted some get back after this Senior Bowl stuff is great stuff. I mean, you've got guys out here trying to fulfill lifelong dreams and make an impression that, you know, hey, we're here to stay. We can play. I want to play. I want to play on your team. And I think this benefits the Detroit Lions absolutely by being around these guys for a full week.
And that's why I said when you're down there, you get a great assessment on how players play under different circumstances, because when you get to see different things, you get to see quarterback, you get to see players do interviews. They get to talk to you. You get to see players. Give you an example, the Ohio State and Michigan with Stuber. You get to see Stuber slam the Ohio State defensive lineman. Now you get to watch how does the Ohio State defensive lineman respond, because everybody just watched him get slammed. Oh, what happens? He gets slammed again. So if I'm writing in my notes, I'm like, you know what? Doesn't respond well after getting slammed. So that's the one thing, being there in the present, you get to see.
All right, we've got him. Let's go to him now. Dave Birkett, Lions beat writer for the Detroit News.
Our man.
Our guy. We love him. Dave Birkett, fresh off a trip to Alabama. Now, Dave, what do you get in Alabama food-wise? Do you eat good food down there in Alabama? What were some of the memorable things down there?
You said Detroit News. You need to correct yourself.
Did I say Detroit News?
Freep, baby.
Did I say news?
I don't know.
Oh, I must have. Sorry, Dave.
We know you're with the Freep, Dave.
We know you're with the Freep.
I just want the people out there to know.
Oh, that's my bad. Sorry. I can't believe I did that, actually. But I apologize to you. What do you eat down there in Mobile, Alabama? What kind of food they got down there?
Yeah, well, depends what my travel schedule and work schedule is like, because things do tend to close a little bit early down there, but lots of seafood. Oh, you know that's the case, right?
Oh. Yeah.
They got some crawfish, some plenty of gumbo, you know, get a bowl of soup with whatever you're eating. So it's good eats down there.
Absolutely.
Great beaches, man.
Well, talk to me about the impression that you got, just the opportunity for the Detroit Lions staff to be around these guys this week has been what?
I mean, I think it's valuable. You know, they look, anytime you can spend a week with the guys, and sort of get to know them beyond what you see on the field, right? Everyone has access to the practice tapes, and everyone has seen these guys play. These are 100 of the top draft prospects in the country, so everyone has seen them play, college scouts for all these teams. But when you get to go behind the scenes with them, learn how they learn, see how they take coaching, see who the leaders are in the various rooms, that's the important stuff. I mean, even scouts will tell you that even being at the combine and when you're a position group leader at a combine and you get to see who the alpha is in that group, like, that's valuable. Those little things are, they can be differentiating things, when it comes to making draft picks.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you this. What did you make of Dan Campbell allowing his coaches to step up and be the offensive coordinator, like Deuce Staley being the defensive coordinator and being the head man, kind of running the show? How did that look down there, and do you think that will help them moving forward to further when they want to be head coaches or when they want to take a step to leave Detroit?
Yeah, it's good, but just to be clear, that wasn't really a Dan Campbell doing. That's the Senior Bowl's process now. I mean, this is the first year that they've the head coaches for all teams going forward, it started this year, are really in advisory roles, and they want to have some of these assistants step up, to different jobs to sort of help the job pool and help these guys, show what they can do for themselves and for other NFL teams. So it's definitely a good thing. I don't mean to diminish it, but just to be clear, that's not like a Lions thing that's happening. I think the value. Deuce Staley's a guy, obviously he wants to be a head coach in the NFL, and to get to put a week of a practice plan together and talk in front of these guys, and there's definitely some value for having a dry run, and if you're an organization like the Lions, Ben Johnson is probably going to be your offensive coordinator, and this is really a test for him to to see what he can do in his week of being an offensive coordinator, not so much from like how does the offense operate, but again, just the organization and the planning that goes into pulling everything off.
Dave, you just said Ben Johnson's going to be the OC. Dave Wanstead told Colin Cowherd it's already a done deal. It's going to be Matt Nagy.
Well, I said probably. We'll see. We'll see. Look, I would be surprised if Ben Johnson doesn't have an elevated role. Let me say that, okay? Because Ben Johnson did enough last year that I just don't know what that would look like, what message that would send to him and to others if, the influence that he had in the second half of the season, if you didn't reward him for that in some way, and maybe it's just pass game coordinator or something like that. But I do expect him to have some sort of elevated role on the team this year. So, we'll see exactly what happens. And frankly, we've seen, what Matt Nagy's offenses look like in Chicago. And I mean, personally, I'd rather give a young guy a shot like Ben Johnson.
Me too.
Than see what Nagy can do in Detroit.
Yeah, 4-0, 4 for 4 on that all the way around. Talking to Dave Birkett, Lions beat writer, Detroit Free Press. And Dave, I wanted to ask you about Brad Holmes. He had mentioned earlier in the week that he is not afraid to move around. Do you look? We've as long as we've been alive, we've been talking about moving down in the draft. Do you believe this is a year that Brad Holmes could find a trade partner and do that? Does he want to do that? Where do you think he is with that right now, moving down in the draft?
I mean, he's nowhere right now because we're February 4th and no one's having any sort of those discussions now. Do I believe he wants to? Of course. I think everyone in the NFL, unless you're taking a franchise caliber quarterback at the top of the draft, is all ears when it comes to moving down. I just don't. Ultimately, I don't know that he's going to be able to this year. I mean, there is not that really elite prospect at the top of the draft. I mean, even the guys the Lions are likely considering, right? Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, we all know those names. Those guys are not going to end up with grades like Chase Young or Myles Garrett coming out of school. So as good a prospects as they are, I don't know that NFL teams will see them as generational talents. So. He can hope and want all he wants, and I'm sure he'll be active, on the phones. But I don't know that someone's going to be there willing to move up to number 2.
Hey, Dave. Yesterday we played some sound from Brad Holmes down there in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, and what he talked about wanting to challenge Jared Goff. He basically said his job was not secure. Basically, he had to go out there and work it. He had to prove he had to get better in some areas, and he wanted to challenge him. And we know that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have been pretty connected at the hip in terms of agreeing with things. What do you make of that conversation that he had with Goff, and how do you think Goff will respond?
Yeah, I mean, Brad's always been a pretty straight shooter with Jared. I mean, I remember spending time with Brad, the morning of the draft last year and talking to him after the draft. And, he had been point blank with Jared up to that point that, hey, look, a quarterback is on the table for us. And obviously they didn't take one. And, Brad had told me that, once Trey Lance was gone, they knew they weren't taking one. So it wasn't like they were going to force that. But, I think he's been upfront with Jared. And I think Jared appreciates that, after what he went through in L.A. And so, look, the truth of the matter with the Lions quarterback situation is, Jared played well the, 6 games in the second half of the season that he played, and he didn't play well the first half of the season. And I don't know that anyone is ready to roll with this guy long term yet. I mean, he has a chance if he plays well in 2022 to maybe be that guy. But, I'm writing something for Sunday on, sort of comparing the Lions to the Bengals, and I know there's been this talk, right, just the state of the franchises and Cincinnati's rise to the Super Bowl. But the Bengals have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL and a young quarterback who's on a rookie deal. The Lions don't have that. So, there's to me, that's still the missing element that this team needs to fill in this rebuild is find that young quarterback, star quarterback that can win big and win consistently in the league.
That takes me to my next question. Dave Birkett, by the way, Free Press, Lions beat writer down in Mobile, just got back last night. As a matter of fact, we appreciate him coming on. The bottom
early
line
this morning,
here.
By the time I landed, Tom.
Yeah, your voice is sounding strained, man. I'm sorry. We'll keep this short for you. But who impressed you of the quarterback class that you saw down in Mobile? Because the Lions had their chance to see their guys, and of course the Jets coaches coached up their quarterbacks. They don't need a quarterback. They already have Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Maz, I'm not going to lie. I know we've talked about this before. My process at the Senior Bowl is probably a little different than the draftniks that go down there. I mean, I'm down there talking to agents and scouts and those people and not paying much attention to the practices itself because I tend to rely on, those guys that get paid for a living to evaluate talent, their opinions to sort of supplement my own and trying to, find out a little bit about free agency coming up in March. I did watch Malik Willis a little bit because I was writing about him. I wrote about him today, and I'll tell you what, that guy can – I mean, first of all, he can move in the pocket. He can be a factor with his legs, and he has a cannon for an arm. I don't know that – I know, I watched him a little bit during the year, the couple games he was on ESPN, and so I know there's some inconsistencies in the interceptions. But to me, he looked like the best quarterback that was there. Maybe Kenny Pickett with the national team. I think, he'll still be in the mix to be the first quarterback taken. But as I look at the quarterbacks, I think you need a guy that you can win because of, not just with. And out of the group of guys that were at the Senior Bowl, like Malik Willis is really the only one that you're maybe going to win because of the things that he can do. I didn't see that with some of the other guys there. And, Pickett obviously had a good year, and maybe you could make the argument that he could fall into that category too. But I just think Willis, because of his dual threat ability and the uniqueness of the arm and the legs, I think he is going to climb up some draft boards by the time April rolls around.
Dave, have the Lions identified a player or two that is their top priority come March for free agency?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And they started having some free agent meetings down there this week. So not a whole lot to report on that end yet in terms of actual targets. But I think, two things. Antoine Randall, he said yesterday that he wants to sign, one receiver and draft two and really beyond the makeup of how they get there. His point is they need a stud. They need somebody like Braylon back in the day, right?
Hey, there we go.
Throw the ball to down the field, and he's going to win one-on-one coverage that he can go up and get the ball that you can rely on when you have, you got that picture of Amon-Ra St. Brown up there, right? When he's drawn double teams underneath, or you scheme something up that he can go get the ball. So I think a receiver could be in the mix there. I don't know how wise it is to spend on that position in free agency. Personally, spend big on it, at least the very, very top guys on the market. The other thing is they need a playmaker on defense, and they're going to have the money, I think, to get one, good, major addition in free agency. And maybe it's a guy like Marcus Williams, who has some ties to the defense and the staff, the safety from the New Orleans Saints. If they're not going to bring Tracy Walker back, and I do think Tracy's still in the mix to come back, but I could see a guy like that, a bigger name on defense who can make some plays, being in the mix for them as well.
Dave, last question, I'll get you out of here. Brad Holmes talked about in relation to Matthew Stafford playing in the Super Bowl too, because I think a lot of Lions fans are sitting there saying, man, the first year he leaves Detroit, he's in the Super Bowl. And it's just like, I think the easy way to go would be to say, man, how incompetent this organization is that they had Matthew Stafford for 12 years and couldn't build a team around him to win one playoff game. Brad Holmes said it earlier this week. He said, look, we know where we are. They're in the Super Bowl, and we're coaching the Senior Bowl. How does the Lions organization view the last 12 months and the last 12 years? And I know this is a different regime, and these guys have had nothing to do with the last 12 years that Matthew Stafford was here. But how should they feel about this?
We could talk for 20 minutes on this. It really is. Look, first, they are very comfortable with where they're at right now as a organization. With what Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are doing, and sort of the position they have them in to have some success down the road. Again, they won 3 games this year, and they know they have lots of holes to fill. They need playmakers on defense. They need that quarterback. I don't think anyone in the organization would tell you anything different right now, right? So they're still a ways away, but they like where they're at. Now, as for the last 12 years, look, I know it's a kick in the, where. I don't know what I can say on the internet here. It's probably,
you can say whatever you want.
I don't know what the FCC
we don't have any.
Kicking the junk to watch Stafford now lead the Rams to the Super Bowl and I think, win one next week. But, man, and look, you can't divorce Matthew Stafford from the struggles the Lions had. He was a part of it. Certainly the organization played a huge role in it, and not trusting the right people, and not having the right processes in place, and missteps, right? Not drafting Aaron Donald, or not having the cap room to re-sign Sue. But guys, that 2014 Lions team was really good. Like, they had a really good defense. There was a Hall of Famer in Ndamukong Suh on defense, right? You had a Hall of Famer on offense in Kelvin Johnson. I mean, you should be able to win a playoff game with that. I don't know that Sue's going to be in the Hall of Famer, but he's going to be in the conversation for it. He was an all-pro defensive lineman at the time, one of the best run defenses in NFL history. So the fact that the Lions never won anything, I can't absolve Stafford of blame for that. Now, Matt, I think he's played pretty well here during the playoffs. Obviously got away with the one near interception last week, but you can't take anything away from some of the throws that he's made to Cooper Kupp and the resolve that he's shown, in late game situations to lead the Rams to win. So I know there's a lot of people in and around the area that are happy for Matt and Matthew to have this opportunity and to be in this game, and they think it, automatically elevates him to being a Hall of Famer and proves everything was on the Lions the last 12 years. I don't think you can do that. I think they're all, the Lions and Stafford, and everyone was a part of it. And I think it still was the right time for the Lions to move on, just based on where they were as an organization, where he was as a player, and sort of everything that comes with that.
Hey, Dave, I lied. I want to get the last question in here. I'm sorry. One more here. Lions picking second, and they're picking either 31st or 32nd, unless they move. They're not going to pick in this situation anymore. I'll go on the record and say they're not going to be picking in the top 5, top 10 anymore going forward. Don't you have to go out and get that quarterback under a rookie contract and get him in the first round somewhere?
It's tough because I'm with you, Maz. Like, I don't see they're going to be a better team next year, right? If they win 7 games, you're picking 14th instead of second, and you're not going to be able to get one of those top guys. Quarterback is the one position, right? You need it so bad, and you're not going to win, sustainably without it in the NFL unless you have a guy like a Burrow or a Pat Mahomes or a Tom Brady or, these generational type talents. But you can't force it. And I don't know that guy is there this year, for the Lions at number 2. And if he's not there at number 2, that means he's not there at 31 either. So I don't know that you force it. The plan that I like really is you trade out of one of those late first-round picks if someone wants. Those picks have value because people want the fifth-year option, and maybe you move down later into the second round and you get a future one. And if you do have, you've already played this game where you have extra draft capital. Maybe you accumulate enough that you can go up to get your guy next year in what should be, a pretty star-studded quarterback group at the top. So it's a dangerous, game to play. I wouldn't force it at the position. I 100% agree that they need to do their diligence on every quarterback prospect here, and it's great that they get to work with guys like Willis and Sam Howell at the Senior Bowl so they know what they have. If the guy's not there at 2, I don't know that I would spend the draft pick on him at 31.
Hey, a kid from Yale won the MVP yesterday in the East-West Shrine game. Yale quarterback.
You're the only one watching Maz. Maz probably got it on his DVR. He's going to go home tonight and watch it. Maz will watch your practices 5 times
y'all
before he comes.
Y'all about to kill Dave's voice, man. Dave is looking at y'all like, Jesus Christ. How many one last questions are there going to be? I got you covered, Dave. Let him go. Let the man go.
I was in L.A. for the NFC Championship game and had my initial flight to Mobile. I couldn't fly that, so I had to fly to Florida and drive up to Mobile, and it's been a long week of travel for me, but it's all good now back home. So
thanks, bud.
Amen.
Oh, man.
We certainly appreciate the time,
always,
buddy.
Man.
Dave Birkett. Follow him on Twitter at Dave Birkett. Also, the Free Press.
Not the news. The free.
I can't believe I would say something like that. What a dummy.
It's been a long week, man.
You said you were a dummy earlier.
I said I was a dummy earlier, so
said
it's
you're
par
gonna
for
do
the course. Dave Birkett, Detroit Free Press.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Absolutely. A lot to chew on there, guy. I do like. Look, it's a bit of a gamble. If you're going to do that, if somebody falls in love at 32, at 34, maybe you could trade that pick for a future first-round pick, and then an injury comes up here and an injury comes up there, and before you know it, the team you traded with is picking first or second overall next year.
I found out something very interesting as it relates to first-round picks. Obviously, they're not that important when you know what you're doing. Sean McVay hasn't had a first-round pick in
4 years, 5 years.
He hasn't had a first-round pick in 5 years.
They don't have a first, second, third, or fourth this year.
Hasn't had a first-round pick in 5 years. Meanwhile, he has the second most draft picks in that time period with 45, only trailing one team. Apparently, if you know what you're doing, first-round picks.
And they know how to sign free agents. So they know how to make
Brad Holmes is a part of that. And guess where he's at?
Yep, right.
They know how to make trades and sign the right people.
But guess who's here now? Brad Holmes is a part of that.
I missed a break. I'm over for a break. Got to go. We'll be right back. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line. Yo, sorry
I'm Kay Cunningham. Working with Hall Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey, gang, I want to tell you about Chili Peppers Tanning. That's right. That's where you're going to find the cleanest salons in the D. Spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club, too, for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. Don't forget to pick up that Australian Gold Designer Skin, California Tan, and Swedish Beauty Lotions. ChiliPeppersTanning.com has the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters, 26 locations and more coming. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hey, Big D Energy going to be out there in the Berkeley grand opening as well, Monday, February 21st, 11 to 1 on Woodward.
I'm going to have to go check that out. What is going on in Auburn?
Yeah, go ahead, Braylon. Give the update on this, because I do want to.
So apparently,
this is a soap opera.
This is the real deal. So apparently, Coach Brian Harsin, who's the head coach of Auburn football team, he was the head coach of Boise State before he went to Auburn. Apparently, he was having an inappropriate relationship with a cheerleader who is Clessy Crotchet. That's an interesting last name for this situation. Apparently, he was having inappropriate relationships with her. Then he goes to become the head coach of Auburn, brought her with him, made her the head cheerleader coach, continued to have inappropriate relationships.
Slow down here. It's kind of getting me excited.
All right, take my time. So Brian Harson's at Boise State. He's having an inappropriate relationship with Klessie Crotchet, cheerleader.
What is it?
At Boise State. He then gets the job at Auburn, but he doesn't discontinue the relationship. He brings Klessie Crotchet with him, makes her the head cheerleader coach and cheerleader head of marketing or whatever, continues the inappropriate relations. His wife knew about the relationship, so what does she do? It's no worse thing than a woman scorned. The wife of Harson decides to have an affair with the wide receivers coach. Wide receivers coach has now been fired since that relationship. It is an absolute show down there in Mobile. Senior Bowl ain't the only thing going on down there.
War Eagle.
Woo! Man, it's war, all right.
Are you kidding me?
Man.
Oh, man. I almost need to take a break after
that. I know,
that.
right? I take a drink of water.
Need a cigarette?
A little cigarette break on that one.
I am going to have a cigarette break, man. No, I'm not actually. 3+ years in counting.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, how about that?
Congrats on that, man.
God, it's hard to transition to the Brian Dabol after that. I don't even know where to go.
Just got to jump in.
Yeah, just got to jump in. So
it's a good story. It's a guy that you like, Michael Lombardi.
It is. Michael
Former
Lombardi
general
to
manager.
me.
Does a great podcast.
Yeah, Michael Lombardi to me is just everything the guy says. I think is gospel. That's how trusted I think he is. It's how much knowledge I think he has. It's how in the know he is.
None of his stories ever feel like gossip.
No.
All his stories feel like professionally researched.
Yep.
He did his due diligence. He talked to the people in the article, said article. They really feel good. That's why you like him, because he's legit and knows his stuff.
So I want to play, this was his podcast, the GM Shuffle podcast that he does. He talks about this Brian Dabol situation, and he shared a phone call with Brian Dabol, and according to him, whether Bill Belichick knew that Dabol was going to be announced the head coach or not, Dabol did not know. So
the Giants didn't know that, in other words, Brian Flores, when he went for the interview, it was legit, supposedly, is what this phone call is going to say.
Yeah, basically, this was not. Michael Lombardi is saying, here, just play it. Let's do that, and then we'll talk about it.
At 5:30 Friday night, the day after Brian interviewed, Brian Dabol calls me on the phone, and I have a long conversation with him, and we talk about a lot of things. And I can say unequivocally under oath that he was asking me about the Miami job. He was asking me about, was the Miami job a good job? If he's fortunate enough to get the Giant job, what job would he have? I literally got off the phone, and 15 minutes later, I get a text from somebody, Dabol's got the Giant job. Now, if he had it and he played along with me on that phone conversation, then Martin Scorsese needs to line him up in his next film. I thought the ownership of the Giants wanted Flores. I really did. And I thought from talking to people that Brian had a really good chance there.
So that is a little bit of a shocking reveal there, right? Isn't it? That Brian Flores actually, had he gone to New York, might have gotten that job because that's the guy they wanted? So maybe Bill Belichick didn't know anything. And the Giants actually put out a second statement today saying that Bill Belichick does not speak for our organization. I don't know. I don't know what to believe at this point.
There's so much going on, but the timeline adds up for him.
The timeline adds up, and I don't know what to believe at this point. But I will tell you, when you hear stuff like this from very reputable people, you know, we go back to what Dan Lust, the sports attorney, said, you know, a couple of days ago when he was on with us. There's what you think you know and what you can prove. If this is accurate, and the Giants did want Brian Flores, and that interview was not a quote-unquote sham interview, and Dabol didn't know he had the job, maybe Bill Belichick didn't know what he was talking about. I don't know, That's what that soundbite seems like to me.
Or maybe he was just screwing with Flores. Because there's a rumor, because Flores used to be on his staff. He was on Belichick's staff. And when he left to be the head coach of Miami, the rule, without saying it's the rule in the NFL, is you don't take assistant coaches off the team with you.
Yeah.
Which he did. He took some guys to Miami, and it kind of soured the relationship between him and Belichick. So we don't know if Belichick put that out on purpose, or we have no idea what the hell's going on.
I listened to it a couple of times, and really what I took from it is that, one, let's just say Dabol didn't know. They still knew what they were going to do, and Belichick already knew. Dabol's the only one that didn't know.
Yes.
Still doesn't matter, though.
Again, the only problem is
the Giants are saying they didn't know, and Belichick doesn't know.
Once again, everybody will deny until they put their hand on that Bible.
Right. No, but I think this is the big distinction to make.
Right.
Can you prove it? Like we're gonna find out what Bill Belichick knew in a deposition.
Yeah.
He's gonna be deposed under oath,
Which is under
by
oath.
penalty of perjury and jail time if he lies. So we're gonna find that out after a deposition of that. So we can speculate all we want. I would think that Bill Belichick would be honest under oath in a deposition.
Yeah, one thing about it is NFL, the teams, coaches, GMs, ownership, the franchise itself, they always play things close to the vest. I told you my draft story. Like the Miami Dolphins knew what the hell they were going to do the whole time, and they made it seem like they were going to draft me. People keep
They even tested your phone
on the day of the draft. So on the pick, mind you, so people know what they're going to do, and they play things close to the vest. I think if Dabol didn't know, maybe he's doing an acting job. But if he didn't know, I don't think that matters. I'm gonna go back to what I've been saying all week. I don't think you, as Brian Flores, come out and just drop bombs like this, and you don't have more.
I agree.
And don't have more. Like everybody's like, this is interesting timing. It happened so fast. The fact that there's still 2 jobs on the table. The fact that everything is lined up. I'm telling you, he's not going to release everything. Him and his attorneys, they have more. They have a lot, and they're just letting things slowly but surely creep out. They're letting people get comfortable in their ways. I'm telling you, everybody denies until they get under oath. Everybody denies till you get under oath.
Here's the sidebar, too. Brian Flores, put this tweet up there, Alex. Brian Flores thinks that Bill Belichick told the Giants, hire Brian Dabol.
I could buy that.
Here's the quote on Twitter. That was a conversation about not doing as much as we needed to do in order to win football games, Flores said Wednesday in an interview.
No, that's not the one, Alex.
That's not it.
Yeah, if we don't have it,
Let's take a break. Come right back because I got to get to a break. I'm up against it. We'll talk more about this next.
Or something else.
Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network. The bottom line.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers.
Monday, February 21st from 11 to 1 p.m. Join Woodward Sports and Big D Energy for the grand opening of the Berkeley Chili Peppers Tanning on Woodward between 11 and 12 Mile. Come hang and join the Pepper Club. Best deals on unlimited tanning.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Comerica Park, sunshine, the crack of the bat. More sunshine, warmth. We're almost there, Detroit. Summer 2022 will be the summer of Woodward sports. We just gotta make it through this damn cold first.
Hey, to our listeners out there and our fans, we appreciate you. We have gotten through a week, and I know Maz said that this week has flown by. I would disagree. This has been a long-ass week, man. And you know what I would like to do after a long-ass week? I would like to go home. I would like no snow. I would like to turn my fireplace on. I would like to watch the NFL Skills Challenge tonight starting at 7:30. Watch my boy Dylan Larkin. But you know what I'm going to do it with? Some Gypsy vodka. Kick my feet up on the couch, man. Got my dog, Sasha, my little Pomeranian Fox Terrier hybrid. She is ready to watch the Skills Challenge, and she's ready to watch me drink the Gypsy. Gypsy vodka infused with artesian spring water, corn distilled 6 times using artesian spring water. This stuff is great. 50 formulas, and guess what? On the 49th plus one, they got it right. That is the 50th formula. Adam and Mike, we appreciate this product because it's so pure, so smooth, and also don't forget it is gluten-free. Go down to your neighborhood liquor store and ask for Gypsy Vodka. Tell them Braylon sent you. You might get a discount if you don't. Oh, well, tell them next time. Eventually, it will work. Gypsy Vodka, it's smooth, it's pure, and also if you're going to drink, please do it responsibly.
And as Braylon is drinking his Gypsy Vodka, watching that skills challenge, you could bet on it. That's right, at mybookie.ag. And don't forget to use that promo code Woodward for you first-timers, because they will double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. That's money in your pocket to do whatever you want with it. Put 20 in, they'll give you 20 more. Put 1,000 in, you're going to have 2,000 in your account. The Pro Bowl's coming up this weekend as well. We're going to talk a little about that. Braylon had a little action in the Pro Bowl back in the day as well. Do all your gambling on mybookie.ag and use the promo code Woodward for your double first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-270-7117.
I just have an extremely hard time believing that Brian Flores is going to risk his career, his livelihood, if he doesn't have this. Like, if he doesn't have this rock solid. You know, I don't know. So what Michael Lombardi is saying is that no decision was made, essentially, that Dabol didn't know. The Giants come out with a second statement today and says Bill Belichick does not speak for us. We did not have our minds made up yet. How can you prove that in a court of law? I don't know. I'm not the lawyer. You got something on that?
Yeah, I get to add to that. Like, because I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I agree with you that Brian Flores, you know, and this is twofold, even bigger than that point. You said you have a hard time believing that he came out with this, that he doesn't have anything more, that he's not telling the truth. 1,000% I agree with you. I got one bigger than that, though, Ryan. I have a hard time believing that he would jeopardize being the one to try to go against the machine as a black man, to take down the NFL as it relates to their practices on hiring black coaches, on their practices of making black coaches do dirty work and then firing them. You mean to tell me that he's going to risk all that? He's going to risk all the potential black jobs in the NFL, all the head coaches to come after him, all the GMs to come after him with some BS? Because just imagine this. Imagine he's lying. Imagine he's wrong. Imagine he has nothing more than this speculation. Now what happens? He sets that movement back. And you can say what you want to about him lying. I'm damn sure not lying. If he's lying or if he doesn't have anything more, he's going to set this movement back even further. I have a hard time believing that he is going to risk it all, because it's not just about with Brian Flores. This is about the movement of the NFL hiring practices. It's bigger than Brian Flores.
And again, you got to have the receipts. And the Bill Belichick, the Bill Belichick text message, to me and to a lot of, if you're in a court of law, what some coach thinks in New England has nothing to do with the Giants.
Except he has giant ties.
Except you have giant ties. They've got all kind of ties. We told you about our Josh McDaniels to the Raiders. You know, these coaches know everything, what's happening. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. For Brian Flores' sake and for the movement's sake, I hope he's right. I hope he can. No, let me rephrase that. I hope he can prove what he's saying. Yeah. Because if you're going to go up against a machine like the NFL, you better have it lock, tooth, and nail, or whatever the saying is. You got to have the receipts. You got to
cross your T's and dot your I's.
You got to.
When Colin Kaepernick chose to go against the machine that is the NFL, when it finally got to that point when he was going in court of law and when he was going against these guys, they had those texts. They had that collusion. They had it. Like, it got to the point they couldn't deny what they saw. He knew that he had that. That's why he won that case. That's why there was that undisclosed amount. That's why he's never played in the NFL again, because of that undisclosed amount. He had the receipts, as you said. I pray that Brian Flores has those receipts.
Because Brian Flores, to me, was going to get another job.
Yeah.
And he still might. I don't know. He still might get that Houston job.
Maybe the word on the street prior to all these hirings was he was going to do what he's doing. Maybe the word is out. Hey, don't hire this guy. He's coming after us. I mean, everyone knows everything.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't get a job yet. That's why Eberflus got a job all of a sudden. That's
Never
why
even heard
these
his
games,
name before he got hired.
I'm telling you, That's why. People know. They're going to find out. I mean, because the guy's the best coach out there.
Yeah.
He should have been the first guy off the board, and I begged for my Giants to take him.
Yeah.
I begged for them to take him.
10-6, 9-8, back-to-back years. He beat Belichick
They play hard.
last four.
And he gets on the ref's ass. I like that.
You won't allow him to sit back on his morals or rest on their laurels.
I hope he gets his coaching job right now. I hope the Texans do it.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, there's 3 jobs left, right? The Dolphins, the Texans, and the Saints. Not sure who's going to get any of those jobs, but we'll see.
Stephen Ross fired him because he was belligerent to Stephen Ross. Belligerent meaning, no, I'm not going to dump a game. No, I'm not going to take $100,000 from you. No, my team is going to play hard the whole year.
No, I'm not going to take a meeting with Tom Brady that will be tampering.
So if that's going to be belligerent, then, hey, Stephen Ross is going to lose the team. Because there's no other way around it. He's going to lose the team because Brian Flores has got the receipts.
That's belligerent. That's my type of belligerence.
Yeah.
Guys, I got a couple of minutes. Anything burning that you want to get to? Otherwise, I'm going to get to one of my favorite stories of the week that we have not talked about. That's the Jimbo Fisher story.
Let's go.
I love this story because Jimbo Fisher. You want to talk about deny? Jimbo Fisher is like the king of deny. You will not convince me that Texas A&M is getting the top recruiting classes in the country the last couple of years without paying guys.
It's arguably the best draft class ever in terms of stars and numbers.
A significant sum of money. Look at the 5 stars by the 2022 class. 7 5 stars, 19 4 stars. You're talking about 26 players that are 4 and 5 star players. Well, he's getting a ton of heat. Lane Kiffin is calling him out. Several coaches around the country calling him out, not only for cheating, but for flat out paying players. Here's what Jimbo had to say about that.
Oh, God.
A lot of money is being spent, and just your thoughts.
Here's what I'm going to say, and this is point blank. This is point blank because here's my problem. There is no $30 million fund. There is no $5 million. There is no $10 million. This is garbage, okay? And it pisses me off that people, and here it comes from a site called Bro Bible by a guy named Sliced Bread. Then everybody runs with it. So it's written on the internet as gospel. How irresponsible is that? And then to have coaches in our league and across this league say it, clown acts. All right? Irresponsible as hell. Multiple coaches in our league. And the guy's griping about NIL, griping about transfer portal, using it the most and bragging about it the most. That's the ironic part. You want character? I'll take it with any of y'all. It's a joke. It does piss me off. The other thing, when you look at vice president, I get another one. Vice president of Notre Dame. Supposed to be a reputable university, right? That's a heck of a person leading a reputable university. I'd be real proud if I hired that guy. Read it off Sliced Bread. It's funny, when Nick Saban said his quarterback got an $800,000 deal, it was wonderful. Now it ain't wonderful no more, huh? But ours, we ain't got that. Ours are on record what comes up. We ain't doing all them big deals. There ain't none on our place we know of. That's funny when you do it. The hypocrisy is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and it's insulting to our staff, how hard we work, to how we do things, and it's insulting to Texas A&M because there ain't a better place to go to school and play ball. If you don't like it, we're coming on. Get used to it. All right? We ain't going nowhere. It's an absolute joke. The people who put the hard work in and do it. It's irresponsible, but it's funny when they get it, it's all okay. Ball games are changing, man. And it ain't because of NIL and what goes on. It's pretty irresponsible of all of them. They're clowns.
I love this story. It's been my favorite story of the week. We've had it on the rundown for the last 3 days.
Oh, my God.
And we have not gotten to it because of all the Harbaugh news.
Damn, Jim.
If I could play for a coach in college football,
Jimbo.
I might run to the College Station.
I'm getting a white pullover with Texas A&M.
I might run to College Station. That was remarkable.
I used to love Leland McElroy when I was younger, man. Leland McElroy was the running back in 96, 97. Like you said, Sam Cooke, man. Change gonna come.
Isn't it? We are so hypocritical in our lives. Like everything we do.
Look at Lane Kiffin crying.
Right.
He's the biggest freaking
Lane
cheater out there.
Kiffin is the biggest cheater out there.
He's cried all year. He cried earlier in the year
He
about
did.
something, the transfer portal or something he cried
I think
about.
he cried about Brian Kelly
Nick
going to LSU.
Nick Saban comes out at the last year, my quarterback's getting paid $800,000, close to $1 million, and it's great. And then he cried. Nick Saban's crying about this alleged money that Texas A&M is paying out. I'm going to an event tomorrow night, 500 parents at this school, but no mask. But yet we make our kids throw masks on 20 in a room.
Exactly.
I mean, everything about our lives is a freaking hypocrisy.
Good job, Ryan.
Everything
Keep preaching.
is about hypocrisy. Everything we do. And it's just good for Jimbo Fisher. If my kid was good enough to play Division I college football, Jimbo, you got him.
I just love how the teams that have been winning the most, like we've criticized the most, what we've speculated about for the last 10 years. You're talking about Alabama, how much speculation has been there. You're talking about LSU. You talk about Georgia. You talk a little bit about Clemson. You talk about Ohio State. But now all of a sudden that the NIL is real and you can pay players, at least boosters and donors, et cetera, can pay players. They want to come out because a team that hasn't been to the college football playoffs, that hasn't typically finished in the top 10, they come out of nowhere with 7 5-stars, 19 4-stars, and 3 3-stars. Now all of a sudden, they got to be cheating. I don't know if somebody's cheating or not. I just know the fact that because it's Texas A&M, people want to point the finger. I can't wait to see how this plays out.
Breaking news in the NFL as well. We'll get to that next, plus Maz's videos of the day. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Citron is an aspirational lifestyle. I'll tell you like this. I aspire to be with Citron, but guess what? I am with Citron. My God, this lifestyle is a lifestyle brand that I'm proud to represent. We usually keep a couple, Ryan. I think we've drank them all. Check this out. With a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages, premium bottled water, and revitalizer shots, Citron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings. You see how good they're playing as of late. Proud partner of the Detroit Pistons and exclusively served at LCA. Citron is fashionable, functional, and fun. Check out their stylish brand design with a unique crown and their cool bottle designs. Citron is with you for all of life's most memorable moments. Whether it's clinching a playoff win, choosing the big deal, or a fun night out, Citron is made for celebrations. Buy online at citronworld.com with promo code RedWings10. Save 10% with shipping and handling included already. Citron is more than just a beverage, it's a lifestyle, and Citron doesn't just fit into your life, it enhances it by encouraging you to look good, feel good, and play good. Drink it, live it with Citron.
And gang, I want to tell you about Guardian Alarm. Your local security experts have been for over 90 years. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe. 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home, control your electric temperatures, detect smoke, carbon monoxide, even going to let you lock and unlock your doors. All you have to do is call this number, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Before we get to Maz's videos of the day, a little bit of breaking news in the NFL.
What do you got?
The Denver Broncos have officially hit the market. The Denver Broncos franchise is for sale, valued at $4 billion. There is one requirement in the will of the late family, Pat Bowlen and the Bowlen family, and that is that the team goes to the highest bidders. You want to create change? Get ownership. And we'll see if there's anybody out there that can step up and buy the Denver Broncos. Create change, ownership. That's how it happens.
I hope they follow those rules.
Yeah.
Highest bidder.
There you go. Highest
Unlike
bidder.
other people back in the day.
There you go.
Yeah. It's all good.
Yep.
Hey, I want to wish a happy 63rd birthday to the greatest football player to walk the earth,
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor. Happy 63rd birthday, LT. You are a miracle. You were maybe not the greatest guy in the world, but you are the greatest football player to ever lace him up. And I loved him so much, man, that I worked in his restaurant. He opened up a restaurant in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Oh, my God, man.
Just so I could get in there. I'm like, all right, I'll be a bar back. I wanted to be the bartender there, but I got a bar back job. I didn't last long, but at least I got to see LT a little bit here and there.
Happy birthday, LT. Hey, before we get to Maz's videos of the day, again, I just want to thank everybody on the YouTube chat. We're 20 likes away from 200. If you have not, huge audiences again today.
Man.
We cannot thank you enough. If you have not hit that like button, smash that like button. It really helps us and helps the network here at Woodward Sports. We certainly appreciate it. Love you guys out there. Maz's videos of the day. Here we go.
All right, let's lead it off, shall we? Let's go to, this is the one I wanted to play yesterday. Ken Griffey Jr. stealing a fly ball from his good old dad, Ken Griffey Sr., when they were both playing in the same outfield as Seattle Mariners. Check this out, and, of course, the smile.
Sammy shoots a high fly out into left center. And it's Ken Griffey
Look at him.
taking the play away from his father.
Look at him laughing.
Love that.
And his dad, too. How great is that, huh?
I love that.
Stan would have tripped me.
Wouldn't that have been good? He would have.
Stan would have tripped me.
He would have threw his glove at you, too, as you were walking away.
Tripped me and threw his glove at. It would have been an ugly look, too.
That's so
That
great.
mean stare.
How would that have meant to you, man, playing? Look at LeBron waiting around for his kid.
Bronny,
I mean, waiting for his kid to get in the NBA. I'm not sure what kind of player this kid's going to be, but LeBron's trying to hang in there and maybe play with him.
Bronson Jr., he can play. Bronny can play. He's not as tall as his father, but he definitely has hops. He definitely has some skill. His outside shot right now is a little bit better than LeBron at that age, but he's going to be a project, I think, though.
See what Charles Oakley said the other day?
Oh, yeah, he was talking about Draymond?
No, he's talking about LeBron.
What did he say?
He said, look, if you're LeBron James, if you want to win another championship, you might consider leaving the Lakers. And he was serious. They were making that. It created a lot of exploratory conversations.
He made that mess.
Yeah.
He made that mess.
Well,
There's all kind of trade
Rob
rumors.
Pelinka made that mess a little bit
Someone
too.
put a trade rumor out with the Knicks, and the Knicks are going to. I'm like, and I wrote back. I'm like, why would the Knicks want to help the freaking Lakers?
When you saw Magic Johnson walk away from the franchise after they got LeBron, midway, it wasn't even midway through the season. That should have told you a lot about what the Lakers were going to be. Anytime Magic Johnson can just walk away and say, you know what, y'all go ahead and have that. That should have told you a lot way back then. That should have told you a lot.
Absolutely.
Hey, we'll keep it into baseball because I'm feeling like it should be spring training right now. How about Ichiro, one of the greatest hitters of all time,
Suzuki.
great outfielder as well.
I saw this. I love this.
Look at this video, man. This is Ichiro having some fun. He's throwing at some bats right now. Knocking them down one at a time. And now he's going to throw one out to the outfield and hit a target. Look at this. And he gets it.
He hit the trash can up and then dropped one in the bucket.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that unbelievable?
He's always been amazing. Like it's interesting because he got in because they counted his hits in Japan. I never was against that because of how good he was. I never was against that. How he played the game here in America. I never had a problem with it. Never had a problem.
Hey, remember the old XFL? Well, it debuted 20
Vince
years ago.
McMahon.
20 years ago.
He hate me.
He hate me.
Rod Smart.
This is a he hate me video. Let's keep our mics up and talk about Rod Smart. He hate me. Bring it up.
Well, folks, he's got the most popular nickname in sports. He's
lower it
Rod
a little.
Smart.
Right now it is showing Rod Smart, and he's got the he hate me jersey that everyone was digging on. Look at this guy.
He ended up having a nice career in the NFL, by the way.
He returned a kickoff for a
Super
touchdown in the
Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Isn't that something? All right, we've seen enough, Alex. So he hate me, and the XFL. I wanted to play when The Rock came out to L.A. He came because the first game was on L.A.
Finally,
The Rock
has come back
to the XFL.
You know what he said? The NFL don't want to come to L.A. We're gonna give you a team in L.A. And,
That's
well,
great.
now there's two teams in L.A. thanks to The Rock. The XFL 20 years ago,
Do you
and of
remember
course
the XFL blunder where like the feed cut out And then, like, they had to come back on, and then it went late, and it went into Saturday Night Live. That's ultimately why they got rid of it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God,
Part
that was
of
amazing.
that 30 for 30.
That 30 for 30 was amazing.
Hey, by the way, guys, we're over 200 likes.
Thank you.
You guys are absolute friggin' best. And we, look, man, we hope we put a good week of shows for you together. We think we did. And we're here for you. And, man, we're growing together here at Woodward Sports Network. We thank you guys so much. Sam Reynolds, hell of a week out of you. Alex Mayer, I'm telling you, man, you're our blindside guy, man. You're always taking care of us. Our left tackle over there, Maz.
Good call.
My goodness, nobody puts more into it than you and Braylon. I love you like a brother, man.
Same here, buddy.
Get
Same
us
here.
out of here. Hell of a week, man.
Same
Hell
here,
of a
man.
week. Feels so good about this week.
It's a great weekend in sports. Great weekend starting tonight. Going into this weekend, speaking of The Rock and the XFL, tonight, The Rock will be doing these opening ceremonies for the Winter Olympics starting at 8 o'clock on Peacock. So if you got that, go ahead and tune into The Rock. You know he's going to do his thing.
I hope he becomes president one day.
You got the Pistons tonight. They're playing the Celtics. You got tonight the Skills Challenge. Dylan Larkin going after his record in the fastest skate. That should be fun. I know I'll be tuned in. Tomorrow.
Who wants that job?
We didn't talk about this. Tomorrow, last time ever, Coach K will be playing at Chapel Hill. Tomorrow, UNC plays against Duke at Chapel Hill. It'll be the last time ever that he'll play against UNC. That should be fun. Pro Bowl is Sunday. The NHL All-Star Game is tomorrow. But I would be remiss if I did not do a Black History moment. And here's a good one. 15 years ago today, the first black head coach in a Super Bowl. And guess what? It wasn't one. It was dose. 2 Super Bowl coaches. Lovie Smith was the first one because he won the early game in the NFC. Tony Dungy would join him later on that night in the AFC. They would play a really good game featuring one of the best halftime shows of all time, Prince performing Purple Rain in the Rain. Since that Super Bowl 15 years ago, there have been 2 black coaches to reach the Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin, who's been twice, he won one against the Green Bay Packers. No, against the Arizona Cardinals he did, and he lost one to the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, only one. And Detroit's own Jim Caldwell went to the Super Bowl and lost to the New Orleans Saints. I appreciate you guys for enjoying those moments. There will be more next week coming up. This has been a hell of a week.
Let's go!
You guys have made us push it to the limit, and we are not stopping. We're going to the edge, and then we're going to jump off and keep going. Well, Woodward Sports getting better and better. I'm Edwards. That's Ermanni. That's Sam. That's Alex. And that's the big guy on the couch, Maz. We love you. See you next week. Guess what? That's the bottom line.
For 3, rebound, Killian Hayes. Killian still with it down the lane, lays it up, lays it in. He looked like